Hey guys, it's Paul, combat veteran, MMA fighter, YouTuber, and today we are checking out one of the most sought after and controversial videos in the Warhammer 40k fan animation universe. This is Games Workshop's edition of Astartes. Now, as you guys know, the SYAMA PEDERSEN was a fan creator who created the viral hit Astartes. I've looked at that video. It was probably one of the second or third Warhammer related videos that I ever looked at, and it's awesome. But he was basically given the what do they call it in Spanish? The like plombo o plata offer, the silver or lead. They said, hey, we'll either sue you to take down your IP or you can come work for us. So Astartes was removed from YouTube and now stuck on a corner of Warhammer community website. And that's where I found it. So we're going to be checking it out. I've got it set to the highest possible settings for graphical quality. So I'm hoping that it's awesome, but it's Games Workshop, so we never really know. Okay, but before we get started, I heard from some of you guys that my link shortener that I had used to direct to my merch store was sending people to a spam website. And I'm really sorry about that. I should have absolutely been checking it, and I haven't. I've updated the links in almost every video. So now you should be able to check out the merch store, and I've lowered my prices. I've got more shirts up there, more designs. So definitely check it out. Help rep the channel. Okay, having done that, let's get into it. Whoa, that is loud. Retributor, sorry. Okay, I think they've done something with the audio mixing. The music is loud, but the audio effects are sort of, they run up against the music. This may be me. Yeah, let's try to cut this down a little bit. Yeah, the thing that SYAMA PEDERSEN does so well is optical effects, right? He creates this effect that there's a camera and it's changing its focus as it focuses on things that are near to us, far away. He captures lighting, and the lighting really gives a depth to the spaces. Like, let's see if they cut to another shot of the Astartes boarding the transport. Okay, well, did you see as it passed out of the hull of the ship, it very quickly transitioned from light to shadow, and you could tell where the sun was. It was above. So are the Retributors a real chapter in lore, or are they a creation of PEDERSEN? Oh, yeah, I see now. Okay, and the first time I watched it, I thought the escort drones were blowing up asteroids that were on a collision trajectory, but I see now that there's the smoke trail of the ship's defense systems, and that the escort drone is destroying those incoming missiles. So I believe in space you might still see a trail of burned propellant as a missile moves through space. I believe physics, there should still be like some sort of residue of some sort of the actual burning of the fuel. Yeah, okay, so this is also sort of interesting is that, it starts firing its minigun, hoping to like bore a hole into the ship. The physics are sort of interesting because the minigun rounds would fire at full velocity, right? There would be no air resistance. So they would actually have a tremendous level of penetration, right? Because we know from physics that absent air resistance, the relative motion of the ship moving through space isn't going to impact or is only going to add to the velocity of those. Again, I'm saying minigun rounds. I'm sure it has a different name in lore, but those rounds will come out of the minigun at their full velocity. They won't be slowed down by air resistance like projectiles would do in an atmosphere. I'm also curious, they would have to have a really detailed schematic of the ship in order to penetrate a large vessel and stop at a point where they can easily disembark, right? They're in some sort of cargo hold or something. And I think that's sort of interesting because it could be easy to plunge into a ship. Maybe not easy, it'd be extremely difficult. But if you could somehow manage to maintain your hull integrity after crashing into another vessel, you would still have the problem of the fact that they might crash and just be in a mass of cables or inside a fusion reactor. They would have to really know the inside of the ship and be able to stop themselves before they shot clear through it. Interesting. I really appreciate that he really captures sort of the power of the bolter. Like you see how anyone who's hit, it's a tearing, a giant, a really forceful impact. And the animator makes you feel that impact. Whether it's a whole shoulder girdle being blown off, whether it's this guy being shot right into the back of a door. He really captures the fact that when you're hit with a high caliber round and it doesn't pass straight through you, the effect can be really, truly devastating. Okay, another detail I hadn't noticed before is their skin has these kind of curvature and then tiny hash marks. That's also what you see in the big brain, so to speak. Again, those lighting effects, man, he just does them so very well. I know in lore that an auto gun getting penetration on Space Marine armor is kind of impossible. It makes me think, honestly, that maybe some of these enemy are brainwashed or mind-controlled somehow. Since there appears to be some sort of really, an extremely powerful psyker in the form of this the brain that we know shows up later, and in these two other characters who also seem to be embodying that brain. So perhaps they have simply psychically dominated these other human beings. Again, you notice when it pressed up against the grating there, everything did a little shake, and again, it looked real, right? You got a sense of the weight of both the weapon and also the grating it was up against. And also look carefully at the armor. You see how the paint is not chipped, but it's dented. It looks worn. It looks like almost the surface of like a piece of construction equipment, right? Recently painted, but definitely showing signs of use. Again, the awesome effects of the smoke there. I do think it's interesting. I'm not sure what cannon that's supposed to be, but I believe that even multiple lasfire blasts would still damage Space Marine armor. And he ate, looked like maybe a dozen. Okay, so I'm going to try to draw an inference here. So it looks like they have human-like spine columns plugging into their head, arching back into their bodies, and circumventing or complementing their central nervous system, right? Their brainstem. It really makes me think that perhaps these are some sort of transhuman characters, right? Maybe at one point they were human beings, or they were some sort of modified human beings, and they became possessed by, again, what we'll see later, these larger brain creatures. Because you notice how their eyes tended to glow for a moment, and it makes me think that maybe they're somehow communicating through the warp, that there's some sort of, that they have a perception of the Space Marines breaking through and being nearby. They can communicate with each other, and I assume with the larger mind. I appreciate him adding they have the counter for bolt rounds. I never caught that. Always have yet to figure out where Space Marines keep their spare magazines, because you just saw him run through 30 rounds like it was going out of style. Does he only have one hand? Interesting. I'm seeing the one guy only has one glowing eye, the other one has only one glowing hand. This makes me think maybe they are some sort of like transhuman or like cobbled together parts of a human, some sort of maybe Frankenstein type monster. Yeah. You saw it. He broke the spine based neurological connection in the first one. It instantly disabled or damaged the other one. And they must know that must be some sort of additional thing installed in those soldiers to enable, because you saw the Space Marines immediately took it out, recognizing it, that it was some sort of threat. It somehow still posed a threat, even with the brain destroyed. This feels like it may be shortened somehow. Is there a missing scene here? Okay, so there's the first of their like brain boys or whatever. As we talked about, it's imprisoned, right? Those are charges meant to destroy it. So I can't tell if these are considered part of the chapter of the Retributors, or if these are actually Grey Knights, and that's why they're working with the Inquisition and investigating this kind of object that's both Xeno and chaos and heretical. Also, again, I want to point out you can see some of the age on their helmets, even through the white paint. Okay, I'm really curious to see if they cleared up the dialogue between the two objects. Did we establish ever what that was? Some sort of breaking of the seal or some sort of purification? Or maybe just some sort of trap, right, to alert something within this chamber that others have entered it. That's a really common tactic, actually, to set basic noisemakers as tools to tell someone that there is someone or something entering, especially like your camp. It's common among hunters or in certain like patrol-based type situations. You will use, in the military, we have formal flares that'll do it. You'll set up trip flares. Again, a trip mine is not legal under the Geneva Convention. You can't set up any weapon that can't be triggered manually, but a non-lethal mechanism would be like a flare. And so you would set up these trip flares, and when someone tries to enter your perimeter or get too close to your perimeter, it'll set off a flare and illuminate the whole area, right? So you become aware that someone or something is trying to enter your perimeter. Of course, the trade-off is if you're trying to be stealthy, i.e. like a patrol base, you've just alerted everyone that you are nearby. But there are also like cruder versions that are used usually in camping or hunting camps, where it'll be rocks in a tin can. It will be even just a bunch of metal, like silverware or something that clangs together. Anything that makes an unnatural sound, which usually metal on metal is a classic used one. But I've also heard of people using inert rounds, like a shotgun round with the slug or bullets empty, so that it just makes a pop. That's another easy one, but that can be dangerous because it is an explosive. Okay, again, interested in this. We talked about it being a man of gold or a symbol of men of gold, but you can see inside there's nothing. It's just a carapace and wire framing. So it makes me think this isn't an actual man of gold. This is or another like mythic figure, but some sort of symbol or some sort of vessel, right, that will be occupied later. Perhaps in much the same way those psychers looked like they could have been quasi, like, biological constructs. You saw there briefly. Let's take a look back there for just a moment. I believe as the skin came into focus, yes, look at the face. It's got the same pattern that we saw in the Psyker skin and that we're going to see in the Brain's skin. This is this beautiful HD at work. And maybe these are additional details that were added by SYAMA Pedersen after it came out. Additional details he would have liked to have added in order to help us tie the thread among the enemy. There it is. See that pattern? That's the same pattern on the skin of the Psyker enemies and on the carapace of the golden figure. Again, love the way he shows damage on this armor. Damage, wear, age. Oh, look, we didn't see that. See how there's a tile there on the right? It tells us something. Imperium absol quidam est abe imperiatoras visas occulti. Maybe Imperium, I don't know what quidam would be. Est abe is done. The Imperium, absolutely something is done, maybe. Imperiatores visus divisus occulti. Like maybe somehow something about the maybe this is designating this chamber or the ship itself as a function of the Inquisition, right? Designated as part of this ordo. Some sort of order dedicated to occult or heretical alien life. Okay, I heard we did not fail. The Astartes, something, our touch. Return, break your seal, maybe? Okay, interesting. We spliced in some stuff. Oh, we spliced in the Astartes being killed. fucking, that's how you solve a problem. Okay, interesting. Maybe that's some sort of depiction of its true form or its form within the warp. Shout out to the Astartes for giving one last FU, right? Not gonna kill it, not gonna even make it, not gonna do anything for them, but just gonna piss that thing off and, fuck them. That's a winner attitude right there. Okay, so it looked like that being in the warp, right? The tentacled one had trapped all 5 of the Astartes, and something had killed it, and now it was being dumped out. Yeah. And throwing up corpse darts. It'd be slightly clotted blood. Okay, I wonder if this is copyrighted music. Am I gonna get in trouble for this? I probably will. Games Workshop would use copyrighted music. Oh, Corpse Planet. I remember this. Let's see if they added any more details to help us tell us something about Corpse Planet. Yeah, okay, interesting. Not seeing any details about Corpse Planet. Wish I had more. Didn't look like Necron. Could still be in the warp. Could be experiencing some sort of warp-related, like, time dilation or something. I mean, if they did get pulled into the warp, this may be a possible outcome, right? The time dilation, go on these long, what feel like long journeys, if you wanted to corrupt something as rigid and pure as a space marine, you would have to make them you'd have to probably have 10,000 years to do it. Da-da. Astartes. Let's see what they put at the end. I'm actually more curious about this than anything. Okay. Alright. Okay, interesting. We saw a brief Blood Angel reference, then we saw whatever this is. Okay. And that's it. Copyright 2021. The year Games Workshop really cracked down. Okay, guys, wow. Did we learn anything else about Astartes from this? What did we learn, if anything? I don't know. I don't know if I learned a ton new. Maybe they added some of the details that help us tie the thread between the gold statue, the giant brain, and the initial Psyker enemies. I think that we definitely learned. But other than that, I don't see a ton of detail changes. Pedersen may have taken this as an opportunity to add details where he wish he had. It seems like their commitment to detail is much greater. But again, I wasn't even watching a SYAMA Pedersen original upload the first time. I was watching a re-upload, which may have taken a hit in quality. So the original might have had this level of rich detail, and I just missed it. But overall, I don't see any changes other than the fact that it's not hosted on YouTube and isn't SYAMA Pedersen's intellectual property. And I don't even know if he is getting any royalties from this. So I feel sort of bad but hopefully he is getting paid well for his services by Games Workshop and not just some freelance BS. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. And be sure to hit that subscribe button, check out the merch store. And until next time, I will see you guys later.